What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Poll Rundown. Holy shit, this just might be the longest series ever on my channel. So many episodes, so many polls. This poll is so important. Hey, everybody, my name's Business Boy. Let's get started. I have a briefcase. It's pretty cool. Anyway, this poll is crazy important. Please, as always, read the dev blogs. There are two dev blogs you need to be reading. One is for the new continent, and the other is for the achievement diaries. Please read both of them. If you don't know what you're voting on, you can't possibly be voting. And if you're voting without knowing what you're voting on, well, shit, what are you doing with your life? Anyway, there's more to this poll that is very important that you vote on other than just the dev blog stuff. So, let's jump right into it. You can already see the first question. Obviously, once again, and it's worth mentioning again, the development blogs are linked in the description of this video. Please do check them out. At least skim them. Do it for me. Question number 1. Should we release a gigantic new landmass to the west of Dinas? That's the Elfin City. The new continent could contain multiple new towns and races, as well as skilling, PvM, and PvP updates and activities. All content with significantly impacts on existing content will be pulled separately as we go through the development process. For more information, read the dev blog. Sound familiar? I'm all a fan. I'm a fan of Zaya. I'm sure we'll have time to talk about this more in depth, which is right now, because there are no more questions about Zaya. That's about it. It's just kind of like, do you want it? So let's go through the stuff, why I'm voting yes, and kind of a little bit about what Jagex is talking about. I apologize for the little window that popped up there. I have the dev blog open on another page over here, because there's no way I could remember all this. Number 1, the very first thing on Zaya is a port, kind of like any other port. It's going to be a lot of trading places, stuff like that. There ought to be some quests, it seems. Kind of hard to say. There's some gnome stuff. Basically, it's kind of like the slums. The Jagex uses the word slum to describe it a little bit. And it'll be hopefully an interesting little area. It's kind of like a floating dock area. Moving on. That's not even the most important part. I'm getting way into it. Second thing is Civitas Illa Fortis, Latin for the wind. Actually, I guess it's Civitas, but I think in this case it's Civitas. Who knows? Either way, it is a Roman-themed empire of discipline, combat, honor, and dominion. It's basically going to be a combat training area. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be working. Jagex has said it's kind of like the duel arena. It's going to be like the duel arena, except that it's the size of the duel arena, but like the entire, all 6 arenas in one. I'm not sure. I honestly, I don't know what's going to be, what the fight will be. It'll probably be a predetermined fight. I don't really know. The explanation Jagex has given is not one that is super clear. So whether it's like a fight of wave on wave of enemies, or it is people fighting each other, I don't know. It could be like the duel tournaments, maybe. I don't know. Duel tournaments were a very cool update. I quite enjoyed that update. So who knows? It could be anything. The next thing from Zaya is Great Korend, which is basically this big land. It's again, please look at the dev blog. In fact, it would be terrible of me not to bring up the map of Zaya at least a little bit. But I guess it won't be. So let's just pull the dev blog on screen. It's about time, right? Great Korend. So this is basically, this is going to be kind of a quest line series. You're going to make a bunch of decisions. Basically, there's 5 families fighting over control of this one area of the map. And you can see the 5 seals of those 5 families. Basically, the whole deal with Great Korend is going to be that you're going to make decisions. It's going to be very decision-based. Your decisions will forever impact the area in positive and negative ways. So it's an aspect of RuneScape we don't really see a lot. The whole, permanent decision-making might not be permanent. I'm saying that word a bit, and that might be a little wrong of me. But the idea of getting permanent making decisions and having repercussions very clear to you. So I find that quite interesting. Moving on, we also have Karulm and the Tasakal. The Tasakal are, again, why can't we just make things pronounceable? That'd be so cool. The Tasakal are kind of the thing I'll compare them to, at least from the dev blog, what they seem to be like is the Tazar. They are basically a race of slaying things. They like to slay stuff. They accept death as this kind of part of life. It's very like maintain balance, a very Gothic-ian view, if you will. But they're going to give us harder Slayer tasks, as well as new Slayer equipment. I don't know if you'll actually be able to kill them yourself. We'll see. There's and again, Karulm is the place that you will be going. That's where they live. Who knows whether you'll be able to kill them? The one thing we do know is that the requirement for getting in there is high strength and agility. I would imagine we already have a 70 agility requirement at Sarah God Wars. This seems like pretty late game content. I would not be surprised to discover, and don't be surprised to discover, that the agility requirement falls above 70. So maybe start training some agility. The Paradigm of Exodus is the ever anticipated raid dungeon. Looks really cool. Just that little thumbnail from the concept map. It's a volcano. It looks pretty cool. That's really all I have to say. It's basically going to be a raid boss / dungeon you team up with apparently 5 to 30 players, and go for it. So should be interesting. Should be, again, a lot of brand new content to old school. And then, of course, they mention at the end of this dev blog that there will be more stuff in the future. So be on the lookout. Again, keep in mind the question is very clear that anything that will be significantly impacting on existing content will be pulled separately as we go through the development process. Another thing to keep in mind with Zaya, this is a long-term project. We're talking late 2015. This is not something easy. I would assume even maybe 2016. This update will not be out for a long time, and if it's up, you don't want it out soon. Let's put it that way. So let the JMods take their time with this. It's a very important update. We're adding like 50% more to the RuneScape world, so taking their time with this is very important, not only from a visual standpoint, but just making content solid. Moving on, Achievement Diaries, one of my most anticipated updates in old school. I love the Achievement Diaries. The rewards were fantastic. I think quite balanced, personally. But let's talk about them. First and foremost, Jagex, let's talk about the way they want to release them. So, 10 diaries, all including, but not limited to, these will actually be all of them. Ardi, Falador, the Fremenic areas, Kandarin, which is the Yanil Ardi area, the Caridian Desert, Lumbridge, and Draenor, the Western Diary, which is the Gnome area, the Barbarian area, including that hunting area, and Piscatoris, Mauritania, and did I mention the Elf area in the Western area? Mauritania, which is obviously Canifis and that kind of swampy awesomeness, Varrock, and of course, my favorite, the Wilderness Diary. Again, these will be a lot like your old achievement diaries that you were used to. The one big thing, and this is my favorite part of the dev blog, is that Jagex mentions that the tasks are going to make you do things that are not necessary already. And again, quote from the dev blog, the tasks will aim to have you thinking, I completely forgot this existed, or how on earth did I not do this in 10 years of playing? Hopefully, and that's why I love the Artisan skill, rest in peace. Hopefully, the Achievement Diaries can give us some of that. Absolutely, I'm voting yes. Now, the interesting thing is Jagex has decided to make Elite Diaries a different thing. Kind of strange. But the Elite Diaries, they say they're going to take them a step further. It should really be challenging, the Elite Diaries. So, normal diaries, you'll have easy, medium, hard, and then you'll have an Elite Diary. It'll be a small set of tasks, but they'll all be end-game stuff. Again, having 80-plus stats is probably going to be something to expect, if not even higher than that. So I'm excited about the Elite Diaries. I am terrified, and I look every day on my skills, and I go, shit, which one of these is not going to be good enough? And there's a few you can point out. Rune crafting, God save us all. Yes, I would love Elite Achievement Diaries. The reward was not mentioned. We talked about the reward. They talked about the reward from normal Achievement Diaries. We're going to get the specific gear, the specific clothing from the diary, and they will all have effects that, in theory, are based off of that area. The Artie Cloak, for example. Back in the day, the Artie Cloak gave you the highest stab attack bonus of any cape until the Completionist Cape obviously came out, and it just mirrored the Artie Cloak's stats as well as obviously everything else. So it would be the new meta at Corp. You also have the teleport to the arty patch. I'm sure they'll take some rewards and copy and paste them over, like the Explorer's Ring, going to the Cabbage patch. Pardon me. Still sick. So yeah, I'm excited. Who knows what a wilderness piece of clothing could be? I imagine like a hood would be badass as hell. Who knows? All that I know is I'm super excited. And I like this. Pretty please. Read I like it, kind of like read the Achievement Diaries blog. Go on. Read the Achievement Diaries blog. Please do it. And lastly, an interesting thing that they're thinking of adding to Achievement Diaries, repeatable tasks. And this would be tasks that you can do every day to gain a small bonus for that day in certain skills. I like it. I think it's kind of cool. The bonuses could be XP. It could be gaining an extra log when you cut down a tree in that area. I imagine it will make something like, I don't know, cutting down a yew tree in Falador useful as opposed to, the normal spots that are closer to banks. Who knows? Moving on, those are the two big, obviously the dev blog questions. I guess the 4 dev blog questions, but now we have a bunch of questions that affect this game big time, long term. The first question is, would you like the requirement for a question to pass a poll to be reduced from 75 to 70? With the caveat that any polls that did not pass with 75% and were above 70% would be repolled. I am extremely torn with this question. There are a lot of things that I think could be in this game that should have passed. I do, however, not like the repolling. I think changing the requirement now is okay, but I don't like bringing back old questions. So, I think we should leave them. They're dead. We should leave them dead. It would mean we'd get Artisan repolled. It would mean quite a few things, actually. The irony behind me debating this all is that unfortunately, I suppose, this question is not passing. So things can change. But again, I think I'm in the no camp, mainly because I think the 75%, I think it should take a lot of the player base to get votes passed. But as bad as that can be sometimes, I think it's very important that when we want content, it's an overwhelmingly positive thing, and that means we'll get an overwhelmingly large amount of people voting yes. It also means that updates that maybe the majority of people think might be good, just because it's like first and foremost seems like a good update, doesn't necessarily mean that in some other players, including myself, might think the opposite. So because of that, and then this is a very hard vote for me, I think I'm going to go with no. Moving on, would you like an abstain option when voting? This would be like, I don't want to vote on this. I don't care. I don't want to lock myself into a vote. Absolutely, that's very important. This also not passing. Very curious as to why. I don't quite understand. I think it's a lot of people not understanding the question. That one problem, and again, I think this is why people might be voting no, and it says, for this to work, we will have to remove the ability to vote through the website. That may be the kicker. Not really sure, though. Question number 7. Would you like this option? Would you like the option to change your vote at any time when a poll is open? And again, for this to work, you would have to remove the ability to vote through the website. Yeah, absolutely. You can change your mind. That's brilliant. I like that idea, especially when people like video makers make videos and they suddenly change your opinion. You discuss it with your friends. It's really hard to discuss a poll without you already having a vote in. You have to kind of decide one way or the other, and then you'll get people arguing against you. So I really, really, really do like that. Sorry about the dog. And finally, currently in order to vote, you need to have a total level of at least 280. This apparently takes a minimum of 11 hours. Should Jagex increase it to 25 hours of in-game playtime to vote? Absolutely. Stop making noob accounts and voting on them. It's bullshit. I don't appreciate it. You're a scum for getting on 6 accounts and trying to vote something down or up. You are one person, you get 1 vote. So while Trevor barks at whatever nonsense could be outside, guys, that is it for this episode of Poll Rundown. Again, very important. Please read the dev blogs. The links are in the description. Happy voting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.